Maine, Mr. Poliquin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate it. Thank you, Ms. Smith, for being here. I know you've been on the Hill for quite some time, and a lot of these questions have been asked before. But, you know, this is so important because it goes central to our economy. It really does. You know, here we are on a new pro-growth agenda for this country where we want to have lower taxes and fewer regulations and trade that is fair and energy prices that are lower and stable. And then something like this happens. Now, I know you folks got hacked. And I know you're doing the best you can with it. But, you know, the results of this might not be felt for quite some time. Think about this. About a third of our country, 40% of our country, I don't know what it is, 60% of our adults, 145 million people, Mr. Smith, 145 million. And criminals now have the Social Security numbers, their addresses, their birth dates. And you know, when my mom, who was 89, had to go in and sign up for Medicare, what do you need? You need a Social Security number. And this is really, really serious stuff. I accept your apology. I hope the American people do. I don't know if they will. But we have a population of Maine of about 1.3 million people. I'm guessing about 500,000 got affected by this. Now, I am also very concerned about the perception, at least, of wrongdoing when it comes to our securities laws. You know, you're a publicly traded company, or Equifax is. That means folks in Maine and rural Maine that I represent who are saving for college or saving for their retirement, little savers, small investors, the little guy, they can buy some of your shares in the open market and take a bet that your growth is going to reward them and take a bet on the U.S. economy. And then all of a sudden, we've got material here, if you believe it, I don't know, there's an investigation I'm sure that's going on, that says that in late July, you folks knew about a breach, and a breach which is central to your business. My gosh, you folks collect all this sensitive information and you sell it to banks and automobile dealers and what have you to make sure they get accurate credit reports and money can flow through the economy and families can buy homes and get mortgages and buy cars and businesses can grow. This is really serious stuff. So any breach of that information in your business plan is central to your success as a company, and therefore it affects your stock price. So now we see information, if it's true, I don't know, that you have folks on the inside. And it's really hard, Mr. Smith, for me to accept the fact that you had about a dozen people reporting to you and they didn't know what the heck was going on when something is so central to your business plan. I mean, it looks like some of these folks acted, 3 in particular have been mentioned today, acted to sell their stock before the breach was announced, about a month before, to escape loss in the stocks that they own, which is the stock in your company. If that's the case, the little guy gets screwed. Because the guys on the inside who know this information avoid the loss. But the little folks that I represent up in Maine, and they are hardworking, and they save every penny, and they are worthy of all the income they have. They've invested in your company, they've invested in America, invested in our economy, and they get screwed. I've got a question for you. Now, I may be wrong about this, Mr. Smith, but the information I have that's public says that you own about 285,000 shares of Equifax. Is that true?
Yeah, I believe that's right.
Okay, fine. And given the roughly the market value of that, it's of your outstanding price per share, it's about $28 million or something. Do you or did you sell any of your stock between the time when the breach was learned on the inside and when you announced it to the public, when everybody else in America had that information?
No, sir.
Okay. Here's one of the other things that drives me crazy: confidence. We have business at a 15-year business confidence at a 15-year high. We have consumers who are confident about the new direction for a growing economy with more jobs and fatter paychecks. And then something like this happens, which shakes our confidence. Now, I know that Kristen Sinema mentioned this, and I want to support it also, and ask everybody in our conference, Republicans and Democrats, to support a way for Congress to help, and that's called the Senior Safe Act. We think it's a good idea if seniors who are very vulnerable to this sort of identity theft and fraud are able to go to their bank tellers and their insurance agents and those who plan for their retirement say, you know, we suspect fraud here of all types. We want to speak up to the authorities and not be liable for doing so. That's a great bill. Thank you, Mr. Smith, for being here. I appreciate your time.
Time of the gentleman has expired.